All right. Let's talk about something interesting. When you look at the Pulse community, or when you look at overall sentiment, it's very interesting how quick people forget things and how quick sentiment goes somewhere else, and also how insanely simple it then becomes to create opportunities for yourself. So, what am I talking about? Well, this is the Pulse chart compared to DAI, and it's been going down for quite a while now. It's like what has it been, 4 weeks now? Yeah. So we're at 4 weeks of downwards pressure, and basically, I don't know about you, but from what I have noticed is that no one is talking about it anymore. And what have we learned when no one is talking about something that has a lot of value? Well, then it's probably gonna be the bottom. Now, this is all not. I don't know anything. I'm just learning. I'm just looking at patterns, and I'm just showing you what I'm seeing. But what I'm seeing is that there's some kind of support level here because of previous support and resistance. And the dumpage is getting less and less, like the red candles are getting smaller. And no one is talking about it, although nothing has changed. And what I find interesting is that when you go to Pulsechain, like the coins on Pulsechain, and you go to, well, what is trending, you have all these coins that don't really, they do maybe something, but it's mostly everything is just a narrative and everything is just moving money around. Now that's kind of what crypto is, I guess, but you get what I'm saying. Like all these coins, if all these coins fall away, then Pulsechain is still there and we can still build up on it and we can still do some great stuff in this world. But if Pulsechain falls away, then all of this dies. What I find interesting is that all this money is on Pulsechain, and more people are going into these coins, hoping on their next 100x, etc. And also, most people are forgetting about Pulsechain, and most people are forgetting about PulseX, which is also interesting because once the price went up from here, PulseX all of a sudden went from, well, one of the most hated coins to one of the most beloved coins, and everyone's like, oh yeah, it's the best thing, and I'm so underexposed. And now the price has gone down, like literally, well, you can see it. It's almost only been going down for, what is it, 2 weeks now? 4 weeks, just like Pulsechain. It's just been going down and no one really talks about it, but the buy and burn just keeps on going. So what has changed? I don't know. Sentiment, emotions. Everyone is distracted by the other thing. Because if you go to Ink, for example, you see this. Whoa. Okay, Ink is actually holding up pretty well. That's interesting. That's so fascinating that Ink, the coin that everyone hated. Okay, so it still has 4 red candles in the weekly, but let's see what. Wait, that's the wrong one. Let's see what happens if we go from. Okay, so it went down 50%. So let's just see what PulseX did then. Probably more. 60%. Okay. And then Pulsechain. What did Pulsechain do? Okay, so PulseX went down the most. Pulsechain 50%, and Ink also 50%. So overall quite similar, I would say. So let's see what Hex did then. This is the funny one, and literally no one is talking about Hex, or when they're talking about it, it's a horrible coin. Like everyone hates Hex, which kind of is on brand. It's always been the case, I guess. Yeah, so we have like minus 63%. If you count this one, it's minus 70. It's the most hated coin out there, I believe. And what have we learned about the most hated coin out there? is that once it hits a bottom, like ink, once it hits a bottom, it goes up a lot. Like this went up 25x in 2 months, 3 months. It's crazy. So if you do the same for hex, let's just do, well, also from the bottom then. Let's be fair. So from here, 25. So it's 2400. Yeah. So we're at 13 cents then. And you see an ink, which by the way, ink has the most liquidity out there because it's being paired to everything through the farms. So if ink can go up 25x in 3 months, don't you think hex, for example, with maybe half of the liquidity, probably not even, but let's say here it says 29. Okay, let's look it up. So we go hex on the Pulsechain pairs. Let's see. Why am I getting them? Okay, so we got here 29 million and then almost nothing. So 250k, 270k. So let's add 1 million to that. It's just rough calculation. It doesn't really matter anyway. So we have 30 million in liquidity. But if we type in ink, let's see what it does. 40 million, 40 million, and then nothing basically. So let's count the 1 million up. So we have 80, let's say just 80 million. So we have 80 million compared to 30 million from hex. So, and the math is exponential. So to 4x a price, you need to double the liquidity pool, let's say. So for ink, you would need $80 million. For hex, you would need 30 to get it to double, let's say, or to get it to 4x. Now, what's interesting is that everyone loved ink once it started pumping, and everyone hated it down here, like passionately hating it. Everyone who was even talking about ink was just laughed at, basically. And it's kind of the same with hex right now. Everyone hates it. Well, in reality, actually, it hasn't been doing a lot. Like it hasn't. You see the dumpage, but it has pumped as well. Like it's just the painful historic chart that makes it painful. But if you look at it, like let's just look at it like a coin on Pulsechain, because this is the chart that people see, right? And yeah, you could go back to the hex on Ethereum on a different chart. Let's see, actually. No, this one also doesn't have the history. So a lot of people still have the history in their minds, but they see this. And then pair that with that a lot of people still love hex. A lot of very wealthy people, they love hex. So do you really think that this is gonna stay here, or that it's not gonna move with the other ones? And it's been lagging behind because while everything has been pumping, this one has just been death, basically. Now, this video wasn't necessarily to promote hex. It's just to remind you and remind myself that when everyone is going right, it's probably a good choice to at some point go left. Now, most of the time, it's also a good idea to first go to the right, because you can get some economic value with you. But you don't want to stay right as the momentum changes, let's say. So if you look at all the coins in Pulsechain, and this could go on for a while, so you need to have conviction. You need to understand that if you're gonna go to Pulsechain or PulseX or hex or ink, you're gonna leave some gains on the table, and everyone's gonna call you stupid because you didn't go along with these meme coins, basically. Which, fair enough. I mean, the nuance is that it could be very well worth it to participate in these meme coins, but it's also more risky. And yeah, it depends on how much time you have, how much money you have. Overall, it's just a good thing to DCA in when everyone is fading Pulsechain or PulseX or INC or HEX, because these are the core coins, and these are doing well statistically, and there's actual statistics behind them instead of just the narrative. Now, of course, there is a narrative, but it's mostly just the emotions of the chart. So what I find interesting is that, as a closing thought, I think, if you look at PulseX, also everyone hated it down here, but then it went up, and then everyone figured out that, oh, I'm way too underexposed to this, and then you get this other run up all the way to SEC price, which is interesting. But then everyone just falls back into their old narrative, or they get distracted by other coins and they sell it down again. But no one here is saying that they're underexposed to this. If anything, everyone is saying, yeah, I don't think it's gonna do anything, or we're never gonna get more users, or I don't really know what people are saying, but it doesn't make any sense. Also, this is pretty nice chart structure theoretically. It's just forming a higher low basically in previous support and resistance levels. I would say this looks pretty good for a buy. Not that you should listen to me, but yeah, this is just what I'm thinking. It's like the combination of the chart structure, like a higher low and at previous support, and the statistics are looking pretty good. Like the combination of that, and then the combination of the narrative, where everyone now is chasing shiny objects and having revelations about new stablecoins and all those things, which is great, and maybe you should be exposed to it. I'm not sure, it depends on your level of understanding and level of capital. But overall, if you want some more, how would you call it? More of a safe or more of a sane investment strategy, it could be to go to the things that have statistical value and buy them when the emotions are very low on them. For example, at these moments of time, or these moments of time, but these have passed, and I don't think we're going there. I could be wrong though, but I find these very interesting, and I find it even more interesting now that no one is talking about it anymore. You don't see the charts anymore, and this is just the psychology that you need to understand, is that the feelings will always overpower the statistics, but the statistics will always be followed by the emotions, basically, as long as it's there for long enough, because emotions can stay irrational for very long, but in the end it's gonna follow the structure of statistics. Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say, I think. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're enjoying the energy that is building on Pulsechain. If you're not seeing that, then you're in the wrong places, because there's a lot of energy going around. There's a lot of money to be made, and I hope everyone is going to have spectacular gains in the year leading up. I'll see you in the next video.